So the thing we need to remember about what's happening with North Korea right now is that the media is lying to you and pounding the drum for war. So Adam Johnson, who we've had on this show, big fan of his, he caught this. This is from the Wall Street Journal. And his tweet says, love to threaten regime change, then, without irony, call other country a threat in same sentence. And he links to this article from the Washington Post. And what does that article say? This is literally what it says in the blue. And if you can't read it, I'll read it for you. It says, an internal White House review of strategy on North Korea includes the possibility of military force or regime change to blunt the country's nuclear weapon threat. So do you see what just happened in that Wall Street Journal? That's the first sentence. They first go on to say that the United States, is coming up with plans to attack North Korea and overthrow them. Why? Because North Korea, they're a threat. It's that preemptive bullshit again. That's that thing of, you can't do it in real life. You can't do a preemptive war in your regular life. You can't be walking down the street and just punch some guy in the face. Hey, what'd you hit me for? Because you look like you were going to hit me later. So that's Adam Johnson caught that in the first. I love how he puts it. They threaten regime change, and then without irony, call other country a threat. In the same sentence. In the same sentence, they're threatening to overthrow this government. Why? Because they're a threat. After we just did it in Libya, we just did it in Iraq. We're in Afghanistan now, going on 25,000 years. We ran out of bombs in Syria. We did it in Honduras. We're back in Somalia. I mean, Jesus H. And there's the Wall Street Journal. Somebody else is reckless. We better bomb them. It's awesome. And what are they encouraging? What are the news people encouraging? See, people forget how horrible the war was with North Korea. It's called the Forgotten War. This is from MacArthur. General MacArthur was in charge of the North Korea war. He says, I shrink with horror that I cannot express in words at this continuous slaughter of men in Korea. The battle casualties in Korea today probably have passed the 1 million man mark. Our own casualties, American casualties, have passed 65,000. The Koreans have lost about 140,000. Our losses on our side are 250,000 men. I'm not talking of the civilian populations who must have lost many, many, many times that. The enemy probably has lost 750,000 casualties. There are 145 of them that are now in our prison bullpens, prisoners. So they might be accepted from that figure because they live. But 1 million men in less than 11 months of fighting, in less than 11 months of this conflict, have already gone. And it grows more savage every day. But I say there is no chance in Korea because it is a fact. You have lost 1 million men now. You will lose more than 1 million if you go on another year. If you go on until 1953, you will lose another 1 million. What are you trying to protect? The war in Korea has already almost destroyed the nation of 20 million people. So this is from a book called Soldier by Anthony Herbert, and it was published in 1973. And they talk about in that first sentence up here at the top, I don't know if you can see any of this, but I'll read it to you. It says that they dropped 650,000 tons of napalm on North Korea. It says in the second paragraph, biblical devastation resulted. In May 1951, after President Truman relieved MacArthur from his command, MacArthur testified to Congress that, ready for this, listen to this, this is what MacArthur said, quote, the war in Korea has already almost destroyed the nation of 20 million people. I have never seen such devastation. I have seen, I guess, as much blood and disaster as any living man. And it just curdled my stomach the last time I was there. And I looked at the wreckage and those thousands of women and children and everything. I vomited. That's a general who saw everything. We just got done dropping nuclear bombs not too long before that. That guy saw everything. And when he was in North Korea, when he looked at the destruction, he vomited. I've never heard anything like that. It's unbelievable. All you hear is like Patton standing over a battlefield going, I love it. That's how these guys are. And it took a guy like that and broke him. He vomited. The former Supreme Commander continued, if you go indefinitely, you are perpetuating a slaughter such as I have never heard of in the history of mankind. War leveled at least half of 18 of the North's 22 major cities. Leveled 18 of their 22 cities. Leveled. Think about that. Wow. Pyongyang, a city of 500,000 people before 1950, was said to have had only 2 buildings left intact. Wow. LeMay, who went on to head the Strategic Air Command and became the youngest U.S. 4-star general since Ulysses Grant, wrote, we burned down just about every city in North Korea and South Korea both. We killed off over 1 million civilian Koreans and drove several million more from their homes, with the inevitable additional tragedies bound to ensue. That's what we did in North Korea. We destroyed that country, destroyed it. There was nothing left standing. It was such a devastation of civilians that it made the general in charge vomit. And you see these jagoffs in the media beating the drums for war. There it is. I've seen, I guess, as much blood and disaster as every living man, and it has just curdled my stomach, what he saw in North Korea. But let's remember this. This is from June 24th last year. I saw this tweet commemorating the U.S. Department of Defense. Today in 1952, the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, and the U.S. Marine Corps almost destroyed North Korea, remembering our history. What the fuck? And then here, it says June 23rd to 24th, 1952, combined air attacks by the Air Force, Navy, and Marines nearly destroyed the electric power potential of North Korea. The 2-day attack involved over 12,000 sorties and the largest single air effort since World War II. What did I say? I said 12,000? 1,200 sorties. I'm sorry, 1,200 sorties.
I like how they just had to have that exclamation point there.
Yeah.
Exclamation point.
We almost destroyed North Korea!
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even a frowny face emoji would have made it a little better. It's still awful.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And even more troubling is the photo that is attached. They're not going to show you the devastation.
Yeah, they show you the bombs taking off, but they don't show you when the bombs land. That's the thing about the American media. That's the thing about everyone. They show the bombs taking off. Look how pretty. They don't show you when the bombs land.
We're guided by that beauty, baby. We're guided by the beauty.
And who are the people that would like this tweet?
You
How
tell
do you
me.
look at that and go, I love it.
Brian Williams.
I'm going to say Brian Williams, Geraldo Rivera, Fareed Zakaria, everybody at MSNBC. They were liking this in between wagging their finger at activists and actresses and while running another commercial for the military-industrial complex. That's MSNBC. So there you go. And again, I'm sure no one's going to read what MacArthur said on a news show, although it has been making the rounds in print. Some people have been printing this. So if you have a video of anybody in the news media actually talking about this, please send me a link.
Well, that's just how desensitized we are. Because it's like, yeah, of course they're not going to remember this, but we can't remember Iraq.
I know.
We don't remember Iraq. We don't remember. We don't remember any interference in the Middle East because we're so anxious to do it again.
Yep.
Well, that's why when the U.S. Department of Defense posts these tweets, I find it very helpful.
Yeah. So we're just a bunch of fucking... This is the U.S. Department... That was under Barack Obama. That's not Trump's U.S. Department of Defense. That's under Barack Obama doing that stuff. That's the mentality. Do you understand? That's the military-industrial complex treating human beings, death, as something to celebrate. Hey, we decimated North Korea. Ha ha ha. Killed 1 million civilians. Ha ha ha. But they're the terror. We're not terrorists. We don't do anything bad. And what was that war for? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what that war was for? Steph, you have a master's. You also have one, right, Ron? Look at that. And I'm a dumb guy. I don't know what it's for.
I thought it was so they could later produce a series entitled MASH.
Oh, I think so. Where else we would have gotten MASH, by the way, which ran about 6 years longer than the war did. That war was only, I think, about 4 or 5 years long, and then MASH was like 10, 12 years, something like that. Just goes to show you what you could do with good writing. You can stretch a war out.
Well, what they teach you in school, what they do teach you in school is they teach you that this is the only war we lost.
Oh, yeah.
And in reality, years later you find out what that really means is this is the war where the light was shown the brightest on it afterwards.
So just keep that in mind. Keep all that in mind when you hear I'm talking about war, just in general. It's unbelievably horrible how we've normalized war because every country has an army. Every country has an air force. Every country has bombs, so that they can't be bad. So we can all see how gangs are horrible, right? And mafia and all that stuff. Well, how is this any different than any of that? It's not. It's not. Really? Killing 1 million people? That's okay. Wow. But then we learned our lesson. We went right back into Vietnam a couple years after that. Went back into the Gulf War right after that, and now we've been in Afghanistan for almost close to 20 years. Iraq almost as long. Libya, Syria. We got 1,000 military bases around the world. We ain't going nowhere. So I just want you to remember this when they're talking about war and what we did to North Korea, because those people actually remember. Hey, everybody, the next live Jimmy Dore show is August 16th. That's a Wednesday. New time, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. show. 9 p.m. show, August 16th in Burbank, California. Get your tickets right there or at jimmydorcomedy.com.